Before dawn, a single strike erased more than $100 million in firepower. In the early hours of January 17th, a Tu-22M3 bomber was eliminated while sitting on the ground at a Russian airbase. It was hit directly, triggering a massive blast and a spreading fire that wiped out an aircraft valued well over $120 million before it could even fly a single mission. By sunrise, the consequences had grown far beyond just one destroyed plane. Dozens of scheduled sorties were cancelled, and Russia's long-range strike plans were forced into immediate revision. This wasn't just a tactical loss. It was a nine-figure blow that tore straight through an entire bombing campaign. Stay with us for the full breakdown, and remember to like and subscribe. At 1:32 a.m., the Tu-22M3 isn't a symbol or a showpiece. It's a line item on a schedule. This aircraft was designed to work to be launched, recovered, refueled, and sent back into the air again and again. In this war, it represents the cold arithmetic of routine strikes, shouldering an estimated 60 to 70% of Russia's long-range bomber sorties. It's not the most advanced, but it's the one they can fly the most, with a single airframe often pushed to 30 combat missions a year. That's a tempo that turns maintenance itself into a battlefield. And here's the part that changes everything. One Tu-22M3 typically carries one or two massive multi-ton Kh-22 missiles. So when you remove one bomber from the rotation, you're not just losing metal, you're erasing dozens of planned launches, losses that never appear as wreckage, only as strikes that never happen. At 2:07 a.m., the base in question isn't quiet. It's one of the core launch hubs for Tu-22M3 operations, feeding directly into Russia's long-range strike effort. It's not a backup field. It's a facility built for one purpose: to keep bombers flying on schedule. But despite its importance, the base lacks a full long-range defensive shield. Protection relies mainly on medium-range systems that cover only about 20 to 30 kilometers. That's a thin layer for what's inside, where more than $1.2 billion in aircraft and missiles sit guarded by defenses meant for routine threats, not deliberate attacks. Overconfidence had hardened into habits. When a critical base starts being treated like ordinary infrastructure, exposure isn't accidental, it's inevitable. At 2:41 a.m., the Tu-22M3 is parked in the open for a simple reason: maintenance capacity has been exceeded. The aircraft is waiting on engine work, but the delay is unusual. Maintenance slots are full, crews are assigned to higher priority airframes, and replacement parts aren't available. So hardened shelters are taken by planes cleared for rapid turnaround, and this bomber is pushed onto an external apron to free up space, where it sits for nearly 4 days, fully fueled and configured for combat. During that delay, its infrared signature rises, and its position remains unchanged across multiple satellite passes. Concealment requires movement, and movement isn't possible. By 3:06 a.m., reconnaissance is already late in the process because the target has been known for days. The only question is the aircraft still there? Low-altitude drones briefly enter the area, staying for less than 10 minutes. Focusing on one heat signature, one unchanged outline. They confirm the Tu-22M3 hasn't moved. Once that data is captured, the drones leave. The strike decision doesn't depend on discovery. It depends on persistence. As long as the aircraft remains exposed, the window stays open. At 3:29 a.m., the strike route is fixed, chosen not for distance but for minimal detection risk. Attack drones fly under 50 meters, blending along industrial zones and rail corridors. This profile cuts radar detection probability by nearly 70%. The entire strike package costs under $2.5 million, while a single Tu-22M3 is worth over $120 million. This isn't bravery, it's math. The drones don't need to outrun defenses, only arrive unnoticed. At 3:51 a.m., air defense screens show weak, intermittent returns. Low-altitude movement appears, but it doesn't match a textbook attack profile. This is where hesitation sets in. At this altitude and speed, the drones need less than 6 seconds to cross critical engagement zones. By the time certainty arrives, the opportunity is gone. Operators are trained to avoid overreaction to ambiguous contacts, so the system watches as signals appear and fade. No interceptor is launched. The threat is seen, but it's never declared real in time. At 4:04 a.m., the objective is exact. The drones don't target the cockpit or wings. They target fuel control lines and engine auxiliaries with small-shaped charges. A precise detonation here can deform parts and contaminate fuel pathways. The aircraft is left outwardly intact but internally broken, its certification impossible without a deep teardown. By 4:27 a.m., the loss spreads. Grounding one aircraft erases 50 to 60 missile launches from the campaign plan entirely. It pulls crews off rotation, reshuffles training, and pushes extra workload onto the remaining aircraft, accelerating wear and increasing failure risk. What started as damage to one plane now reduces overall sortie capacity and lowers strike density. By 4:49 a.m., the shift becomes economic. The cost imbalance is stark. A single drone, representing less than 0.02% of the bomber's value, can remove all of its combat usefulness. This is attrition in reverse. You don't have to destroy platforms faster than they're built. You only have to disable them faster than they can return to service. Sortie rates drop. Costs spike as protecting these bases demands far more air defense. The bomber turns from a weapon into a liability. What happened here was not a dramatic shoot-down, but something more dangerous. A bomber worth hundreds of millions was undestroyed. It was made unusable. In modern warfare, that distinction matters more than ever. The Tu-22M3 was built for an era where speed and distance offered protection. That era is ending. So now the question is yours. Do heavy bombers still have a future in a world dominated by drones? If this breakdown made you think differently, share your perspective. Stay curious, stay critical, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep learning with us.